Part of what inspires me to work with natural materials like cotton and linen and wool, and to forage for plants and to grow plants for dyeing, is because this is how it's been done for thousands of years. So our ancestors would have worked this way. And I think in doing that, in working with our hands and working with natural materials, it's a way of connecting to the past and also being present, and then thinking about how to leave this place better for the future. The kind of relationship I want for us, myself included, to have with the land is to take a little bit more responsibility for it and to take action. I know that we can feel like we're just one person and what can we even do, but just by being present with the land, by taking a walk, by looking closely, those are steps in the right direction. Hi, my name is Kayla Powers. I'm a place-based textile artist from Santa Fe, New Mexico, and the exhibition is titled Flourish. The word flourish actually comes from the same root as the word fleur, which means flower in French. So the word is about blooming, and so to flourish is to bloom or to open up to the world and to share your gifts. Flourishing is the lens that I'm using to think about thriving. The landscape very directly impacts my work because I'm engaging with the plant life to create color. So depending on the season, on the amount of rainfall, the pH of the soil, all of these things impact the colors that I'm able to derive from the plants in that area. And Michigan happens to have some of my all-time favorite colors. I was really excited to exhibit here because Michigan is very much home for me. So I live in New Mexico now, but my roots are all here in Michigan. So it was really meaningful. It almost felt like visiting friends when I was researching these wildflowers, and just connecting to place and to my own roots in that way is something so meaningful to me. Typically when I'm making a piece, the first step is to go for a walk and to see what's in bloom or what's available in the landscape. So I do a lot of foraging. I'll go and collect something. For example, chamisa is this beautiful, super abundant yellow plant we have in Santa Fe. And so I will collect that as sustainably, regeneratively as possible. I'll usually take the plants to my studio and I'll put them in a dye pot and usually go ahead and do something else while those are simmering. It can take an hour or 2 hours. And then I'll use natural fabrics, cotton, linen, silk, wool. And so I'll dye them with the plant. And I love the immediacy of this color. You know, it's like right away from the landscape to the wall of my studio within a matter of hours. And then I'll often hand stitch or sew, depending on the exact piece I'm making and what the intended effect is. Everything I do is really slow and meditative. Even the foraging, I take that as an opportunity to be present, to turn my attention towards the plant life or to the landscape, and to try and really listen when I'm out there. A lot of the time in my studio, I'm with Maple, alone, quiet. I do a lot of hand stitching, which is a very meditative act. You're going through the cloth and pulling these strings like in the same way that our ancestors would have done, in the same way that humans have done for so many years. So there's some kind of like muscle memory in that movement that I'm sort of trying to access. The title of this work is A Galaxy of Wildflowers, and that line comes from a poem by Ross Gay. who's a poet I love. He talks a lot about the living world and our relationship to it. And so I just loved the idea of it being this huge collection, almost this overwhelming amount of flowers, like a galaxy would be. And these are all Michigan wildflowers. So they're not necessarily native flowers, but they're all flowers that make up our landscape here in Southwest Michigan. I started out by looking at my field guides, researching, sketching, and then I approached each flower like a quilt. So I was using 3 layers of fabric, lots of hand stitching, all natural dyes, of course. I'm creating almost like portraits of each flower. So I'm trying to show how unique each one is, but then how necessary each one is to the whole. It's really exciting to see how people engage with this kind of work. For one thing, textiles are so familiar to us. Like, we all wear clothes, we sleep in sheets, we walk on rugs. So we are already sort of familiar with this medium. And so I think it allows people to engage with it in a really interesting way. We have memories of quilts and things that are nurturing and comforting. And so that's kind of a nice place to begin these conversations that can be a bit heavier, thinking about how to take care of our planet. One thing I'm really excited about with this exhibition and in my work in general is to discover these things that we all have in common. So I think looking to the living world to find what it is that we all need to flourish. For example, water and sunlight and air. These are things that we all have in common. And I think that highlighting that in this moment in time, that's what I'm interested in. I think very literally we are nature. So sometimes there's this feeling that you need to go to the mountains or go to the ocean in order to experience nature. But just the reminder that taking a deep breath, that is nature. We are all part of it. We are all participating in it, and we're doing it collectively. We're all doing it together. I think that's something I would love for people to feel when they see this work. I hope that this whole exhibition is a reminder for people that we are interconnected and that we are all part of the living world.